Hello and welcome to, I guess, another pod video cast. My name is Kat or Catherine and I go as Heather and Hops, purely because I love Heather and Hops. This is like a podcast to do with knitting, and I am no longer really a complete novice. But I did only start in September, and I've sort of documented my journey through progressing and learning about yarn, indie dyes, and how to knit. So yeah, I haven't podcasted in 3 weeks I think, but I had another week of being unwell last week, which is when I was going to podcast, and then it was Christmas and it was all a bit much. I have got some knitting done. So I'll share those with you and my work in progress. And in fact I have two. Remember, there's one just over there. So I've got two works in progress to show you. And yeah, let's start. So I think last time I'd finished my sister's jumper and my mum's swancho. And I'd literally just cast on for a Turtledove, which is an Espace Tricot pattern, and I can't believe they've released it for free. It's amazing. It's on a hanger, but we can work with the hanger. You can wear it folded or not. It's a turtleneck raglan construction, seamless, top down, which top down seems to be perfect for me in that I can try it on. I know where I'm going, and this one I can't believe it knit up so fast, to be honest. I think it was 5 days, and it's so soft. This was Juniper Moon Farm, and it's baby alpaca yak wool with a pinch of nylon, and it seems to be holding up well. I have worn this quite a lot already since I finished it. So much so that you might be able to see the elephant in the room, but we won't talk about that just yet. Yeah, so this was in the black diamond colourway, and like I said, it feels amazing. It was really nice to work with as I knit it up. The stitches itself is very simple, the construction is simple. This is a twisted rib, which maybe doesn't show so well, and I maybe should have gone down again, like a needle size on the cuff and the ribbing, but overall I'm really pleased with it. I might, if I knit another one of these, which probably will happen, I might put a few short rows in the back just to lower the back down, or I might try and do they've got an option for a split seam, and there you add 5 inches to the back I think and 4 to the front, so I might try that next time. But I've been wearing sort of high-waisted jeans, dungarees, and a couple of skirts actually, which mean that this sort of crop cut works for me at the moment, and it's wonderful to layer. Yeah, not much else to say other than I truly love this pattern. I've always been a bit of a fan of turtlenecks. Let's put that out of the way. And then, as you can see, I couldn't resist, so I cast this one on Christmas Day, and can't remember when it came off the needles, but it wasn't that long after. This one I went for a full length sleeve and about the same length body. I think even the collar, I think I did an extra ½ an inch on the collar than's recommended, so I can't wear it flat really. I could fold the top half in, which is what I thought. If I didn't want to wear it as a folded, I could tack in the insides and have it with like a bit of a nicer seam, but actually I really like it rolled. Really chuffed. It hangs really nicely, it feels really nice. I like the drape of the fabric, and actually it's pulled together quite nicely. I did go down a needle size on these cuffs and collar, and it seems to have worked out really well. And I must show you, just because I'm not the only knitter in my family, look how perfectly my socks go. My aunt knits the socks every few Christmases, she rotates, sort of girls and boys or whatever. So yeah, I'm dead chuffed. I've got Christmas socks that go with the Christmas cast on. Forgive me, I really haven't been very well. What else have I got to show you? Oh, my Christmas Eve cast on. So I showed my Grinch dyed yarn last episode, and I got to knit it. So on Christmas Eve I was going to cast it on, but actually the day before I finished work and I just needed to knit. And I wanted to knit something that didn't take sort of any brain work. So I cast on the cuffs. Do you know what? I've got one of these too. I put it on there. Make it look nicer. So I cast on the cuffs in West Yorkshire spinners and then moved on to knitting all the way down. Just a really basic, I cast on 54 stitches I think, and knit down to the toe, finished the toe, and I added afterthought heels. And I do actually have a finished pair. And I'm finished pair. Can you believe it? I think these took me 2 days. No, do you know what? I cast them on the 22nd, and then I worked on the 23rd, came home the 23rd, knitted, and then they were done Christmas Eve. That's the way it works. But I really am chuffed. They were so festive and I got to wear them Christmas Day, which I kind of didn't expect to happen. But yay! Christmas socks. Something that I'd probably quite like to do some more of, to be honest. And then we'll get to the cat calls. Come on. Are you coming? You can't cause destruction with me. Come on. So then, Boxing Day, I was knitting on this and I thought I'd cast on something small that I can take out with me, you know, go off to see friends at the pub and such. We went up to Newcastle, which was really, really lovely. So I ended up using some of that Drops Lima, I believe it was, the alpaca blend, to knit up this hat. I love this colour. I didn't really even notice it when I was knitting with it because it was in the dark, but it's got sort of green flecks in it. Is it going to show? No, it doesn't. It definitely doesn't want to focus, but it definitely doesn't want to show either. You can almost see. So yeah, I just knit, made it up as I went along. It was a fun little cast on, really. I quite like the way it fits. I'm not sure about the star shapes at the top of crocheted hats, knitted hats. I think I prefer to not do decreases. If anyone's got any other suggestions on, I find that it just sits a bit, maybe it's because of the way I wear hats, but that's very chuffed with this. Drop steamer, alpaca blend, lovely. It's really soft and it is very slouchy. I'm not going to put it on because I don't have time. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. And what following on from that hat and the decreases, so I knitted up this one. I can't remember how long ago it was now, really, but it was another quick sort of, I would like a new hat cast on. something small that I can take with me that's interesting. And I had barely worn it because of the top of the hat. I don't know why, I wear them quite small to my head. I don't really like a slouchy hat anymore. I used to once upon a time. So I actually unpicked it, rein it as much as of the yarn back in as I had, just knitting, and then I pulled it together. And I do find that it now fits me much better. It doesn't, I have to go all the way back. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like I much prefer the fit of it now. But if anyone's got any suggestions on other ways of creating tops of hats, I'd be quite interested, quite willing to listen and learn. But yeah, I love this tree hat. So this was knitted in West Yorkshire Spinners Jacob fleece, and the green is raw work. I think the colour's called Obsidian. Really, really like this. Proper rustic, proper wool. Yeah, I'm chuffed. I'm really pleased that I took the time to take that out and do it again. Seem to have quite a bit. And then Christmas Day I was given a ball of Noro, I think it's sock silk, and I thought the colours were amazing, so I had to cast something on. And they're not really colours that I would wear, I don't think. So I started a shawl on Boxing Day on the drive up, and I knitted basically a quarter of a shawl, and when I got there, so it takes about 4.5 hours from where I live to drive up to Newcastle, and I just didn't like it, so I ripped it out. And then we went, this is really not interesting and it's neither here nor there, but we went out again on maybe the 29th of December, and I thought, oh, I'll give it another shot and cast on again. So I cast on this, and actually it looks quite nice on the screen, really. And I do really, really like the colours, but it's not really that big. And I don't have anything else that will go with it, so I really have no idea what to do. Should I have cast on something else? Is this an acceptable sort of shawl? Is it meant to just be worn as like a little cowl? I don't know. I quite like the colours, but I'm not convinced. Maybe it would look better in stockinette as opposed to garter. Again, if anyone has any cool suggestions what to do with this, because it is very nice yarn. It changes dramatically. Don't know if there's any bits you can tell particularly, maybe here. The thickness of the yarn changes quite dramatically throughout, which was a bit strange to work with. But it feels a lot softer than it looks when I noticed it. But yeah, so that's Noro, Christmas skein given to me. Not sure what to do with said finished product, but maybe I should have knit socks. Is that a good idea? Tear it out and do some socks? Any help would be great. Any suggestions? Wow, we do have quite a few finished objects, really. And then, well, and that's it, really. So I also, this side of Christmas or the New Year, so I think Monday, I decided that I needed to get over second sock syndrome, and I finished my second little paddock sock. You might, if you've seen any of this before, you might remember this. I dyed up some yarn to go with the colour of this gorgeous book, which if you're interested in tea, I can highly recommend. And this is the yarn. It's BFL and bamboo fibre base, I believe. And you can see it sort of works. And I've knitted up the first sock. And so I've just finished knitting up the second. So I have another pair of socks. I was really concerned that I was going to develop second sock syndrome, like a few people I've heard of. I never ever finish socks, but I figured start the new year as you mean to go on. So I have got a fair few hand knit socks now, 6 or 7 pairs, which is really exciting because they do feel really, really nice to knit with. They feel awesome to knit with, but they feel really lovely to wear too. So in that vein, I'll just scooch over here quickly. I decided, so my next whip I'll show you in a moment. I'm really excited and I've loved it knitting on it. We'll talk about it in a bit. But I loved it so much that I've actually cast on just a pair of vanilla socks to slow me down so I can actually enjoy the process. I'm not in a rush as a knitter, so I'm hoping to slow down and really, really enjoy the process of the next knit as opposed to the finished outcome. So I've cast these little socks on. Again, very simple. I think I always seem to go for a 54 stitch count now, and this time I started with a 2x2 rib, and this was the same yarn as my little paddocks, the tea tree of life colourway that I dyed up. And then this I'm finishing, I've divided it into as close to exactly 2 equal balls, and I'm just going to knit until I finish this lovely balls. It's definitely a cake. This is Stranded Dye Works, the lovely Amy Florence. It's her, I think it's her first frost colourway on her merino cashmere nylon, and the socks I've already got that I've knitted out of this are absolutely heavenly. I've not worn them to death because they seem to be really quite robust, but I've really worn them this winter. Only when I've been outside working, I've sort of been saving them as my treaty warm socks to keep me warm, and they really have done the trick. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how these are coming together. I do like the colours together too. I think, again, I'm just going to knit stockinette, put in an afterthought heel, but I might try a different afterthought heel this time, because I just basically did exactly the same as I did for the toes on the last ones, which works, so I might just stay with that. So we'll see. But new socks, very exciting. Then we come to, I guess, an acquisition set and whip. So anyone that's following knitting or is interested probably knows Emily Foden, and if you do, you probably know that her and Pom Pom magazine have worked together. I say worked together, she's provided everything and they've helped publish Knits About Winter, and there is not a single thing in this book that I don't want to knit. It's gorgeous. I mean, I just don't even want to share, it's just too good. Look at those. Beautiful mittens, and this east wind jacket is just unreal. So I've casted on for a jumper that I've been wanting to for since I've heard about the K word knitting, that is. Why can't I find you? So I'm finally knitting up a soiree. I was very nervous because not only is it cable, and I have not tried cables yet, but it's cables holding two strands of yarn together. And I decided to wait and see what the lovely Spectrum Fibres was going to release, and we had quite an ordeal with this on my part. So my Etsy account for some reason kept sending everyone my old address, which I have not lived at for 4 years now. So I nearly had 3 skeins of gorgeous yarn that I probably wouldn't have been able to afford it to get again, go all the way into central London. However, a note through the letterbox and a day later I have the yarn, so I'll show you one. And this is Spectrum Fibre in the mohair, so it's 72% kid mohair and 28% silk, and it is her Blue Smoke colourway, which for some reason, come on, oh, it's just not wanting to go. Come away and load. Focus. Yeah. Focus. You can almost see. So this is the Blue Smoke colourway, and she does sell her yarn on Etsy, which is simply Spectrum Fibre. I've worked with it previously on the uphill shawl that I knitted for Alex's, my other half's mum for Christmas, so I knew that I really liked her yarn, and I went for a simple Coop Knits socks, yeah, and I think it's called Melanite, so it's just a grey. Initially I thought I might use like a light turquoise or a turquoise, but I'm not that interested with wearing colour. I mean, I'm wearing mustard right now, but I'm really not that wild, and I thought the pairing of these two would be quite nice. And I haven't done loads, but I've definitely done a little bit of work on it and made a bit of progress, so I'm really, as I said, I'm really enjoying knitting this, to the point where I don't want to put too many rounds on it each night, because I just want to enjoy the knit. Here you go. So that's how far I've got, really. I've done some cables, a bit of basketry, I believe it's called, and a good amount of simple stockinette. I'm really loving the fabric that this is creating. I think I started 1 needle size below what was suggested, and I ended up 2, because apparently I'm a very chilled out knitter, and I think also my yarn might be a little bit thinner, the sock yarn, I'm not sure, than suggested, but either way I'm very happy with it. It looks like the sizing is about right for what I would like, so yeah, overall very happy. Yeah, I think that's me done. Tap it out. No, oh, getting judged by the cat. You want to come up? You gonna steal the show? Good. No. Oh, that's not nice. We don't do that, do we? Yeah, so on that note, on that bombshell, we are not watching Top Gear right now. I'm actually going to get on with some work today, make some phone calls, get back to normal life since how I have a voice again, and I hope that was interesting. If you've got any recommendations, like I said, please do get in touch, that would be awesome, and I hope to see you very soon.